Start. To regulate and control the influx of foreign contributions or funds given to individuals, associations, or companies, the Foreign Contributions Regulation Act 2010 was enacted. The Act aims to prevent financial contributions from influencing or affecting national interest activities like electoral politics or judiciary, and has prescribed stringent limitations on who can receive foreign contributions and how they can use them. In 2020, the Parliament amended the Act to make the law stringent. Following changes were made by the Amendment Act. Amendment to Section 7, which forbids a recipient of foreign contribution from transferring the same to any other entity. The usage of foreign contribution for administrative expenses is reduced from 50% to 20%. The center can direct an organization to not utilize foreign contributions pending an inquiry on suspected violations. Those registered under the FCRA or applying for registration are required to open a bank account in the main branch of State Bank of India in New Delhi and may only receive and deposit foreign contributions through this branch. Central government is empowered to obtain Aadhaar numbers of the key functionaries of organization for approval. Several petitions were filed in the Supreme Court to challenge constitutional validity of certain provisions of the Foreign Contribution Regulation Amendment Act 2020. The amendment was challenged on ground of violation of Articles 14, 19, and 21 of the Constitution. The petitioners contended that the blanket requirement of opening specifically an account at SBI branch is arbitrary and has no rational purpose, violating the right to equality. A three-bench of Supreme Court held the constitutional validity of Foreign Contribution Regulation Amendment Act 2020. The court observed in cases where amended provisions are challenged, the scope of inquiry is to see whether the Amendment Act is in consonance with the Principal Act and achieves the object and purpose of the Principal Act. The court also held that it is open to the state to have a law that might prohibit receipt of foreign donations, as no citizen has the inherent right to receive foreign contributions. In this case, a Hindu man, Marappa Gounder, had self-acquired property. He only had a daughter, Kupai Ammal. He also had a younger brother, Ramasamy Gondar, who died before him. The daughter, Kupai Ammal, died without any child, and the property was then acquired by the 5 heirs of her uncle in 1/5 share each. One of the 5 heirs is Thangamal, who filed a suit for partition of the property. The trial court held that Marappa Gondar died on April 15, 1949, and thus the suit property would revolve upon the sole son of deceased Ramasamy Gondar. The deceased brother of Marappa Gondar by survivorship and the plaintiff appellant had no right to file the suit for partition. It therefore dismissed the suit. In the first appeal, the High Court upheld the findings made by the trial court regarding Marappa Gondar's death date in 1949 and upheld the judgment dismissing the partition claim, stating that the property would pass to the defendant by way of survivorship. This led to the appeal before the Supreme Court. The main issue before the Supreme Court was whether, before the commencement of the Hindu Succession Act, self-acquired property of a Hindu male will devolve onto the daughter upon the death of her father intestate by inheritance, or it will devolve onto father's brother's son by survivorship. The court held that the property in question was self-acquired property of Marappa Gondar even if they were living as a joint family during his death, and it is his sole surviving daughter Kupai Ammal who will inherit the self-acquired property by inheritance, and the property shall not devolve by survivorship. The court observed, if a property of a male Hindu dying interstate is a self-acquired property or obtained in partition of a co-parcenary or a family property, the same would devolve by inheritance and not by survivorship, and a daughter of such a male Hindu would be entitled to inherit such property in preference to other collaterals. Stop.